We are officially less than 2 weeks away from the 2025 NFL Draft being here. And on today's show, I'm going to go over my dream picks that the Giants should make at pick 34. The players that I believe are going to be there, and I'm hoping the New York Giants target them with that pick. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and the way I did this exercise was I looked at Mel Kiper Jr. in his most recent NFL mock draft, where he went 2 rounds. And actually, we broke down that video on the channel. And I know all y'all are subscribed, and I know all y'all have your notifications turned on, and you've watched that video. If you haven't, I'll let it slide, and I'll let you go watch it before we delete it from the channel. So go to the channel, click the video with this thumbnail, and watch it. So the way I decided who was still available at 34, I looked at his mock draft, and I saw the players that went after pick 34. And these are my dream guys. And I'm going to start at the D-tackle position. The Ole Miss interior defensive lineman, former 5-star recruit coming out of high school, and that is Walter Nolen. Spent some time and got his career started in college with the Texas A&M Aggies. And this is someone that at one point was supposed to be there at 34. Then he was being looked at as top 10 pick. Then he started to slide a little bit, and now Mel Kiper has him going in round 2. He's got prototypical size, 6'3 plus, almost 300 pounds. And the athletic ability, the burst, his juice when it comes to pass rushing, it is all there. And while the production doesn't match nearly the athleticism you think you have in him, he is still someone that produced at a pretty high level. 48 tackles this past year, 6.5 sacks, 35 pressures. He was the consensus All-American this year. First team All-SEC. And he led Ole Miss in tackles for loss, 14 of them. He just makes plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. And there's not many people with his size profile and athletic ability paired together. And that's why Walter Nolen, in my opinion, is one of the most high-ceilinged players in this draft. Dane Brugger of The Athletic says this about Walter Nolen. Nolen has areas of his game that require maturing, but he flashes big-time disruption in his initial burst and fast physical hands to regularly affect the backfield action. He will be attractive for NFL teams looking for an active gap shooter with high-end upside. I think he's someone that's going to be a better pro than he was college player. And Pro Football Focus set their player comp as Milton Williams. If the New York Giants walk out of the second round with a Milton Williams-type pass-rushing defensive tackle next to Dexter Lawrence and on the inside of Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns and maybe Abdul Carter, you're going to be looked at as one of the best young defensive lines in this team. I'd love to see that. Getting back to the roots of New York football Giants ball. Let's stay on the D-line, and we're going to talk about the other Michigan man, Kenneth Grant. This is a guy that I fell in love with during the college football season. And then I fell even more in love with him when I watched his tape on a snap-by-snap basis. And I didn't think for any moment he would be available at 34. But Mel Kiper's mock, he went later than that. Didn't test all that well at the NFL Combine. And to be honest with you, I don't really give a shit that he ran a 5.140. Because he's 6'3", 330 pounds. 6'3", 330 pounds. Of course, he's not going to be a blazing, dynamic athlete. But I think his burst is showed in his vertical jump in the 81th percentile. Like, he is a huge human being. And I don't think the combine testing nearly showed the athletic profile that he has. At Michigan, he was a part of a national championship team. And he played next to Mason Graham. And I promise you, there's games and there's reps and there's series and there's snaps where you're like, why isn't 78 the guy that we're talking about as the Michigan interior defensive lineman going in the top 10? Like, special stuff, guys. 22 stops this past year. A stop is something that is classified as a negative play for the offense. 22 times he forced that. Second team all Big Ten each of the last 2 seasons. Brugger saying this on Grant. He plays big in a big man's game. But he also has the athletic traits and effort to grow into more than just a stout run stopper. He projects as an early NFL starter with 3 down upside. Pro Football Focus has their player comp as B.J. Raji. Like 330 pounds of Kenneth Grant, 350-plus pounds of Dexter Lawrence. 700 pounds of just dominant run-stopping juice in the interior. That takes your run defense from bottom of the NFL to a really, really viable spot. A D tackle, edge rusher, nose tackle, it should be a priority for the New York Giants. And I also think wide receiver should be a priority in this draft. And 3 of my guys are actually available at the 34th pick in Mel Kiper's mock draft. That includes Luther Burden III, who people told me, Marsh, there is no way he's going to be available at 34. Jayden Higgins, one of my guys from the My Guys video I did. And Emeka Egbuka, the slot receiver for Ohio State. Let's start with Luther Burden. 6 foot, just over 200 pounds, but an athletic freak. And he tested like an athletic freak at the NFL Combine. 4.40, 91th percentile. His splits were good as well. And he is someone that when the ball is in his hands, he's able to go the distance every single time. He was dominant in the 2023 season for Missouri, and then Missouri was a horrible football team in 2024, and his stats, they suffered because of those. Back in like February and January, this guy was looked at as a top 15 pick. Now he's sliding to round 2 in mock drafts. Jayden Higgins, the wide receiver out of Iowa State. He reminds me of a juiced-up Kenny Golladay. Like, not the Kenny Golladay we saw with the Giants. I'm talking about the ones with the Detroit Lions. And he has a better athletic profile than Golladay. 6'4" plus, 214 pounds, nearly a 40-inch vertical and a 10-foot broad jump. Oh, and he ran a 4.40 at 6'4". We'll talk about his stats and why I think he's going to be a better pro than college player. But Emeka Egbuka also is a dream target for me at 34. Predominantly a slot receiver. I compare him to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And if you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and you have Malik Neighbors, you're going to be pretty happy as a quarterback and a fan and of this offense. Didn't go to the combines. Used some pro day numbers, 4.49, 40. Not the greatest athlete in the world, but he wins with skill and leverage and route running savviness and just the ability to get open and be a reliable target. Burden this past year, 61 grabs for 676 yards and 6 touchdowns. Again, he was much better in 2023 than he was in 2024. The offense kind of fell apart. In 2023, he had 86 grabs for 1,200 yards and 9 scores. Dynamic athlete. He just moves different than people out there. Jayden Higgins at 6'4", 87 grabs for nearly 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. More just a jump ball guy, more just a go route guy. Him on the other side of Malik Neighbors would put you in a really good spot at receiver. And Egbuka, like, he's Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's who he is. He's going to be a starting slot receiver on day 1. And you know what? I know that he's a slot guy, but I think he's a better player than Wan'Dale Robinson at this moment. And Wan'Dale Robinson's on the last year of a rookie deal. Are we sure we want him being, or is he going to be the slot receiver of the future? You got to add another receiver. You do. I know you added the quarterback, and I love that. You got better there. You added 2 pros. But you haven't added 1 new skill position starter, and you averaged 16.1 points per game last year. I would like to go out and add one before you get outside of the top 105 picks, where you have 5 selections. Maybe you don't go receiver at 34, but there's other guys maybe at 65 that would be interested as well. Maybe a guy like Trey Harris, who I'm a big fan of. I'm not against taking a running back at pick 34, especially one that has the talent of a guy like Quinshon Judkins. We also have learned that Amarion Hampton has a top 30 visit with the New York Giants, and if Hampton's there at 34, he should be the pick. Judkins at 34 is in the conversation to be the pick. 5'11", 221, a relative athletic score in the 98th percentile, a 4.48 40, graded out. Like, he's an athletic freak, but he's also got some serious weight to him. He's not a finesse back. He'll lower his shoulder, and he'll run through you as well at 221. He reminds me of a more athletic, faster, and bigger Ahmad Bradshaw. Like, he runs with that ferocity. This dude, his freshman year in the SEC at Ole Miss, 274 carries as an 18-year-old, 1,567 yards, 5.7 yards per tote, and 16 touchdowns. 45 rushing touchdowns over the last 3 years. He has a nose for the zone. He knows how to get to the paint. And I love Tyrone Tracy, but I'd like Tyrone Tracy a lot more if he was a part of a two-headed monster with Judkins and Tracy. Dynamic runner, brings a physicality as well as an explosiveness to the position. And the Giants need more guys. Then when the ball is in their hands, they could just go score. Judkins, he could do that. Got a couple more players I want to talk about in a second. But first, I need you to get hooked up with our proud sponsor, Game Time. If you're looking for a ticketing app that you can rely on and a ticketing app that gets you the best seats for the lowest prices, guaranteed, download the Game Time app. Get started with them and use our promo code CHATSPORTS. That's CHATSPORTS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. I also love that prices drop as the events get closer because I'm someone that doesn't want to have to spend money until I absolutely have to. And you can wait until right before the event before you decide to pull the trigger on buying those tickets. Awesome features inside the app, like getting you to be able to see your seat view, compare tickets that way. Easy to access your tickets on your phone to get into the stadium. And it's easy to resell your tickets as well. It's more than just Giants games. You can actually go to concerts, theater events, as well as comedy shows, but you can go watch the Knicks as they're getting ready to go to the playoffs. You can go watch the Yankees as their season is underway. I'm telling y'all, the best ticketing app there is. Use the Game Time Picks feature and use the all-in pricing feature. Game Time Picks makes it that much more easy to go watch your favorite people perform. And the all-in pricing. That way the price you see is the price you pay, and you don't get hit with hidden fees. So what are you waiting for? Download the app, create an account, use that promo code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, and get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. Tyler Booker was still on the board. The interior offensive lineman out of Alabama was still there when the Giants were on the clock at 34. And if you've been watching this channel throughout the draft process, you know I have a crush on Tyler Booker. I'll never forget what he said when I interviewed him at the NFL Combine. I make people that love football not love football. It's legal assault out there. He has the mindset that you would create in a lab for an offensive lineman. And he also has the strength of one of the best offensive linemen in this class. Dane Brugler of The Athletic has Booker as his number one guard in this class, saying Booker is built like a bull with the play strength and finishing mentality to match. His average foot quickness, however, might not be ideal for every scheme. He projects as an immediate starting guard with the tools and competitive character that are easy to bet on. This is someone that was a captain at Alabama. This is someone that gave up just one sack over the last 3 years. He was a second-team All-SEC guy in 2023, first-team All-American, first-team All-SEC, and team captain in 2024. I think he'd be your day one starting right guard. And I kind of like that. Maybe you don't have to rush him there in week one with Greg Van Roten at that spot. Like you have to pick an O-lineman before the end of round 7. Or really before round 7 where you have 2 picks. Greg Van Roten is your starting right guard right now. Greg Van Roten is not your starting right guard of the future. You are in search of that. And a guy like Tyler Booker at 34 might be that guy. I know the Giants had a private workout with Booker. I asked him about it, and he said they asked me what my favorite run blocking scheme was, and I said duo, a running concept the Giants run a lot. And he said everyone just kind of looked around and nodded and laughed and said, yeah, Giants would love to have Tyler Booker. Look, when it comes to 34th overall pick, it is such a valuable piece to this team's rebuild. Like, if you even want to call it a rebuild at this point, whatever you want to call it, I really don't care. But what I'm saying is, if the Giants want to get back to being relevant, if the Giants want to get out of the top 5 draft of the top 10 picks of the NFL draft every single year, if they want to compete in the NFC East, they need to walk away with a long-term starter at that 34th pick. Like, this should be a major piece for the Giants going forward. How many times do we see at the start of the second round, it's like, there is no way this guy's supposed to be here. Like, every single year, there's players that fell to pick 33 and 34 that no way, no how are supposed to be there. And I'll give you a little secret. It's going to happen again because it happens every single year. And hopefully Joe Shane can identify who that is, and he adds a legit player at pick 34. I just wanted to go over the second round of the Mel Kiper mock draft just so you could see where these guys went. He had Jalen Milroe go 34. Emeka Egbuka ends up going 36 for the Jaguars. Luther Burden ends up going 38 to New England, with Walter Nolen going 39 to Chicago. One of the Ohio State running backs, Travion Henderson, who I like a lot as well, ends up going 41 to the Chicago Bears. Kenneth Grant goes 43 to the San Francisco 49ers. Also like Trey Amos, the D back out of Ole Miss, going to Dallas at 44. Jonas Savaiinaea, who is one of my guys in this draft, but I like him at pick 65 rather than pick 34. He was there. Tyler Booker ends up going 47. Darius Alexander is a name to monitor as well, the defensive tackle out of Toledo. And I got my guy, Quinshad Judkins and Jayden Higgins going 51 and 52. And then maybe a guy like Tyreek Williams could be in play at 34. I like him a little bit more at 65. And I like Jack Besh as well. Strong hands, over the middle. Reminds me a little bit of Puka Nacua to his game. He would be a nice, strong-handed wide receiver that separates and can make contested catches. A lot of good players were left still at 34. Who do you want the Giants to pick? Use the names that you see that we just showed you. Pick one of those names. Who do you want to see wearing Giants blue at pick 34? Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG at @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up. And let's go G-Men.